Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to introduce you to the Brightside Book Club and Speaker Channel. And today we have for you we're recording, we have Jonathan Pruitt, and he is the author of The Amber Mentir. And I'm going to let him introduce his book and tell us all about it. So over to you.
Okay, well, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to interact with you guys and your listeners and fellow authors today. I penned a fantasy series. I've been writing a fantasy series for the last few years. The first one debuted just recently. It's called The Amber Menhir, and the series is called The Shadows of the Monolith series. And basically, the premise is that it's a dark fantasy where there's an imaginary world where a group of intellectuals and those sort of vampiric intellectuals have convinced the world that it's in danger, that there's a forthcoming apocalypse, and that only magic, and in particularly blood magic, potentially could save the world. But the problem is that blood magic is not cheap and it's rare, and and potentially the magics that would help save the world and help circumvent destruction, this calamity, um, don't exist yet. And so these um, institutions of learning and magical research were erected, called the Menhirs, to address this problem, this forthcoming apocalypse. And so the Amber Menhir is one of these imaginary institutions, and we follow a group of youngsters, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, enter one of these institutions of learning, the Amber Menhir, and they are quickly confronted with some harsh realities that the Menhirs might not be the wondrous, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed fonts of intellectualism and imagination that they profess to the broader world, and that instead infighting and politics and backstabbing and intrigues form the real basis of these Menhirs, and our characters are drawn into a web of intrigues and aspirations that imperil all of their lives. And so it's a dark fantasy. It's a bit of a dystopian future, and it revolves around a set of schools, basically evil schools, and students who have to confront those evils and try to diffuse them.
Well, thank you so much. We look forward to reviewing the book and tell us where you can get the book from.
Oh, of course. So let's see. The Amber Minier is available on Amazon and Kobo and Apple Books and Walmart and Target and so on and so forth. The biggest venues are Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. Where it was successful enough last week to have been a bestseller on both those sites. So I'm very happy about that for its debut, which you never know how that's going to go. But if you're interested in ancillary information that's not directly available on the books or the within the books or the reviews online, you can go to my website, theshadowsofthemonolith.com, or if you forget the shadowsofthemonolith.com takes you to the same place. And there you can see a blog that's updated pretty regularly about the progress of the first book and then how it's faring, and then the sequels. The second and third sequels are already drafted, and I intend to drop them about once per year for the summers for the next few years.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for being on the Bright Side Show.